minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. .30 seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Oh, yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome into it. It is your Voice of Reason. It's your midweek celebration. Greatest day of the entire week. We are setting that tone. Going to carpe diem all over the place. That's what we do for a Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes, and it's so great to have you along as usual here, broadcasting out of the heart of the nation in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station. But we are all over the country. So many great radio affiliates across the place doing our thing.
Do it live!
Like we do every single day here on the show. There is plenty to get to, and there is no guest. You and I, chit in the chat, staring at each other across the room, trying to solve the world's issues in a 1-hour format. I think we're pretty darn good at it most of the time. As I say, most of the time here on this show. If you want to find more on us, you can go to the website, HooserReason.com, HOOSER Reason.com, and check out all the cool stuff that we have. We have a lot to cover today for sure. There was a press conference from Republicans in the House of Representatives trying to talk about the agenda of Republican wins, and did it work? I think it did for the most part. Yeah. I think we saw some pretty decent campaign talking points coming out of there. Remember, everything that happens from now on is because both Republicans and Democrats is to talk about their wins, their successes, their agenda, and what they want to do to win you over going into midterm season for 2026. Right now, the polls still show that Democrats have the slight lead, although their big quote-unquote blue tsunami that they've been hoping for to win both the Senate and the House is starting to dwindle. And I think it's because they've pushed the envelope a little bit too far. They failed miserably with the shutdown back in October of last year. They're failing miserably in this government shutdown, and they're starting to crack. I'm telling you, they're starting to crack, and that's where I want to start with the program today.
What's trending today?
They always push the envelope a little bit too far. And I want to go to Philadelphia for just a moment. The Philadelphia DA, district attorney, has come out, and he's trying to talk really tough. And this is with the ongoing shutdown, the DHS and TSA workers at the airports, and now ICE agents that are going to the airports to help out, which overall, outside of one individual being arrested, has been relatively successful. And we saw lines that, boom, all of a sudden got really short in different areas of the country. We've seen them handing out water to people, talking to people, assisting where they can. Overall, it's been pretty smooth. been kind of awesome, especially for people who have not been trained in that type of position. But it doesn't stop the other side from pushing some type of rhetoric, and the rhetoric, to again, just completely out of touch with what the average American's actually seeing. We have people that are happy that the lines are starting to go down. We have people that are frustrated that the lines in other places have not gone down, and they're putting blame in the appropriate place right now, but it doesn't matter. And for a side that really tries to get rid of alpha males and the masculinity, because masculinity is evil and we need the beta males out there, we have to apologize for our manliness out there. They really try to win back over the masculine vote, and it's honestly kind of funny.
This is how it works. You commit crimes.
Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, I got to preface this. Again, this is the DA for Philadelphia trying to be Mr. Tough Guy. This is like Tim Walz out there during the presidential run a couple years ago when he was like, I'm a hunter, I own a firearm, I have a camo hat on, I'm just like you, I'm a manly man. And then he puts tampons in boys' bathrooms. So we know we know it's a facade. This guy too. Here's how it works. I'm going to lay down the law as that DA for Philadelphia.
This is how it works. You commit crimes within the jurisdiction that is the city and county of Philadelphia, I prosecute you.
Yeah.
That is how it works.
That's how it works.
No, I don't take a phone call from the president saying let him go. No, the president cannot pardon you. I'll say it again. The president cannot pardon you. And yes, I will put you in handcuffs, and I will put you in a courtroom, and if necessary, I will put you in a jail cell. If you decide to make the terrazzo floor of this airport anything like what you did in the streets of Minneapolis, which involved the criminal homicide of unarmed, innocent people. We are not having that.
All right, so again, the rhetoric, it's ridiculous, it's kind of stupid, but Mr. Tough Guy out there in Philadelphia trying to say he's going to go after ICE agents. Now, you and I know, and this goes without, I don't really need to spend the time wasting my time saying it, except for maybe some of the others on the other side that are listening, be like, I can't believe the rhetoric from this hateful right-wing talk show host, that we need to go through the chronology of what happened up in Minneapolis again, right? It would have been, should have been, could have been a very easy process. We go in, we get the bad guys, we arrest them, and then we deport them because they're people, not just the average illegal migrant here in the nation, but they're actually criminals. They're rapists, they're murderers, they're people with charges that we're getting off the streets. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone, right? We're getting the illegal migrant, but we're getting the illegal migrant that was causing crime in those communities, where overall the community would be happier without those people there, right? That led to the Democrats wanting to put up a wall, not work with federal law enforcement, try and fight against them, encourage protesters to fight against them. Where the protesters got out of hand, they said that it was their patriotic duty to start fighting them. It was a revolution. Remember, these people were literally saying it's a revolution, pick up your arms and start going after ICE agents because they're the Gestapo of the federal government, of the tyranny of the Trump administration, right? That's what we heard. All of it could have been avoided if those protesters weren't there in the first place. They let federal law enforcement do federal law enforcement-y things, and then it would have been hunky-dory. But they got out of hand, and then we had this situation that led to what we're seeing with the Department of Homeland Security shutdown, and why Mr. Tough Guy over here, DA for Philadelphia, is saying that this is the way it's going to be, and if you step out of line, if you cross the street without looking both ways, we're coming after you. And it's kind of silly because right now, again, it's falling on deaf ears. You can do it. I mean, it's a PR season for elections to where the rhetoric is out there and you throw it out and see what sticks. But it's not sticking with the average American person because at the end of the day, we don't care about your tough talk. We want action. And people that are there in the lines at the airports are not liking the action right now.
How long have you guys been waiting in line for?
7 days, no. 2 hours?
2 hours?
We have an 11 a.m. flight.
What has it been like?
Terrible.
This is Fox News, by the way.
What do you want Congress to know, who have the ability to shut this down and reopen and have TSA agents come back to work?
I think Chuck Schumer should be ashamed of himself.
I mean, right there. That explains it. I think Chuck Schumer should be ashamed of himself. The rhetoric, the propaganda is not working the way that it used to. And the reason I bring this up is because they're starting to crack. Just a little bit. They're starting to crack. Now, Chuck Schumer's not cracking. In fact, he's going as far as on this issue with DHS and the SAVE Act, and then even with the issue of Iran, fighting against his own side because he's pushing the envelope, trying to flex his political muscle, trying to show he still has some political capital, so he's not primaried out. AOC doesn't take his job, which would be hilarious, man, right?
I am told this is a garbage disposal.
I mean, if that's the level of the Democrats' the future, then we're going to be okay. They're going to be in a world of hurt, and the social experiment for the progressive side continues. But Democrats are starting to not be able to ignore the facts that are at hand. And the facts that are at hand, obviously, as we've been saying for a while now on this show, is that ICE agents have already been funded for a while under the One Big Beautiful Bill and under bills and legislation that we did last year. So the entire shutdown's all for nothing. And now that that's out in the public and people are starting to question, what are we doing here? Tim Kaine actually came out and did an interview, and he's like, it's time for us to finally sit down and have a conversation.
Let's have the discussion about ICE reforms. There's no pressure there because the Republicans pre-funded ICE with like 7 years of budget last summer. So ICE agents are being paid right now.
I don't think he was supposed to say that publicly because they're running under the narrative that their whole plan is to reform ICE and shut them down if possible and defund them and abolish the entire agency that's criminal and Gestapo, fill in the blank. But he said that part out loud. You're not supposed to do that, Tim Kaine, the other beta male out there trying to be Mr. Alpha guy that ran as the VP, if you remember, VP candidate with Hillary Clinton back in 2015. So he let the cat out of the bag, as the Democrats are admitting now, we can't defund ICE. They're being funded. So while the other agencies right now are hurting because they're not getting a paycheck, ICE agents are still getting paid. So we're kind of forced to sit down and have the conversation. And even after all of the capitulation that Republicans did that they shouldn't have done in the first place, but are capitulating to Democrats on these negotiations, then they didn't come back to the negotiating table and wanted to push the envelope further because that's just what they do. That's not working out in their favor. So that being said,
what's trending today?
Let's go to the House of Representatives now, because today they held a press conference earlier. Speaker Mike Johnson, really laid it down on what this party looks like and the wins that we have as Republicans, and reminding people that while we've had some frustration among Republicans on getting all of our agenda done, we can't throw out the baby with the bathwater just because we haven't gotten everything done. And this election comes down to being the most productive party administration that we've seen in a century.
We've talked a lot about how the upcoming midterm election is really, it's not a contract with America election that's coming up. It's a contrast for America. That's a good way to summarize it. And it's a contrast between common sense and crazy. The Democrats, this is not your grandfather's Democrat Party. They have crazy policies, and now they have deadly, very tragic consequences. And you've heard this common theme this morning.
Yeah, so I don't know if you saw any of the press conference. You can go back and watch it on YouTube. They did showcase some of the individuals that have been killed by illegal aliens, the ones that we were actually trying to round up with ICE, and the bad guys that we were trying to get off the streets, making the streets cleaner and safer for the United States and different communities. That's what the focus has been in making America safe again. It's been working. And even by government numbers and even by private numbers and the stats over the past year, we've seen homicides down dramatically. We've seen car thefts down dramatically. We've seen robberies down and battery down. And I mean, we've seen all of these cases down dramatically year over year because we're just not putting up with it any longer. And we don't have a criminal justice system that's as reformed or, I say reformed in air quotes, but woke in saying that we need to rehabilitate, not punish, because we have to do both. We have to do one. We have to do not just one, but we have to do both of them in order to actually solve society. And we're not just going to tolerate them being in the streets. And because of that action, we're safer. And they were going through the number of victims in society that have been killed by these illegal aliens that were trying to be deported, that we were trying to get off the streets, that Democrats have openly tried to advocate and defend. And again, you can try and spin it all you want to in the mainstream media, but it's not going to work well when the communities themselves are the ones actually being impacted. It reminds me of a shooting, and I hate to bring it up as like a mass shooting, and for those that don't know, myself, having gone through a school shooting in my senior year of high school, it was a tragedy. Horrible thing. But for some reason, every time there's a shooting, then what happens? The Democrats and the media comes out and be like, everybody needs to get their guns taken away, and we have to do these gun buybacks, and we have to do gun reforms, and so on and so forth. They spread all of this rhetoric and this fear-mongering to where those that aren't personally involved might buy into it, but those that are personally involved and went through this and going through their PTSD and their shock and awe that I can't believe it happened in our community, do you know what happens every single time? They buy a gun. Every single time that happens in a community, people said, I didn't know it could happen here. I didn't think it could happen here. I can't believe it happened here. I was not prepared for it. And now we know that we cannot rely on law enforcement to be there to stop it and prevent it. We have to do that ourselves. We're going and getting a firearm. And what are the largest growing demographics of those purchasing firearms? They are women and mothers looking to protect themselves and their children. They are the LGBTQ community because they realize if there is quote unquote hate crimes against gay people and trans people and whatever else, they don't want to be victims to that. And minorities, black communities that are saying we're tired of the gangs going on in our community and we're going to stop it and we're going to protect ourselves. The largest growing demographics of gun owners in this nation against the narrative that's been told to us by the media and by the Democrats. And you know what? The TSA issue and the airport issue and the crime in the street issue is the exact same thing. Media can spin it and lie all they want to. But those that are in the community noticing the difference firsthand, they have a little bit different story to tell. And that's why I'm still optimistic about the voter turnout that's going to happen in November.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When America builds, the world follows. Our energy powered the 20th century. We've set the standard for generations, and we never waited for permission. But now, we're being held back. Outdated rules, endless delays. Without permitting reform, Washington's red tape is slowing us down while other nations race ahead. It doesn't have to be this way. We can clear the way for energy that's affordable, reliable, and built right here. Because what's built here is felt here. Lower costs, more jobs, stronger communities. That's what permitting reform makes possible. Energy didn't just shape our country, it powered the American dream. And with our innovation, we can lead the 21st century. Congress has a choice. Build America's energy future or risk falling behind. Tell Congress, pass permitting reform now.
Hey, did you know that you can have multiple different networks on one single smartphone? Well, with Patriot Mobile, you can. It's time for you to sign up for the Patriot Mobile primary phone plan with plans as low as $15 a month, where you can have 2 numbers and 2 networks on one single phone. And right now, if you sign up using the promo code REASON, you can get an entire month absolutely free. It's the Patriot Mobile One plan. 1 phone, 2 numbers, and 2 networks. And it's all at patriotmobile.com/reason. Again, patriotmobile.com and use the promo code REASON. As you know, I'm always looking for a good snack, but it's hard to find good quality snacks without all the unhealthy additives. But now that problem is over. It's time to enjoy J&S Smoked Snacks. Real cuts of beef, real wood smoke, and real flavor that's crafted in small batches to keep every bag fresh. I promise you'll be addicted. And with numerous different flavors, you'll never get enough. This is not your average gas station jerky. It's J&S Smoked Snacks. Find them online at jssmokedsnacks.com and tell them I sent you.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did 2 guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone and put the power of the universe at our fingertips? At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. How will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever. Every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
When reason meets radio. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Why can't you just agree that if you're breaking the law and you're already here illegally, deport them? I just don't understand. And then tragedies just what happened to that young woman, they are going to continue to happen. It's just, that's justice. That's beyond common sense. Why can't you just agree?
Okay, that's John Fetterman. That's just common sense. One of the most reasonable guys on the Democrat Party. It's very strange, and I'm sure we disagree on some policy issues with him because he is a Democrat. He supports more unions than I like. He supports some other issues. That's fine. But on these major issues, he's just a commonsensical kind of guy. And that's very rare in the Democrat Party. We can't find that anywhere. And when we talk about it from the Democrat side, man, they get angry with him. Oh, do they get angry? They don't like that. But we have some words of wisdom for the Democrat Party, and that is what?
I'd tell them, look, you just got to try harder not to suck.
Yeah, there is that one. I want to tell you about my friends over at Americans for Prosperity. They are moving through their affordability agenda campaign right now, trying to remind Congress what we can do to bring back affordability, which we're on the right track. The golden age of America is right at the tip, right at our fingertips, and we cannot wait to see that come to fruition, and it's starting to happen, but we need to do a lot more. Permitting reform for energy policy, deregulation, more tax cuts, more private sector, repealing Obamacare, getting federal government out of certain industries and allowing the private market to do its thing. The invisible hand of Adam Smith, the Laffer curve, trying to get the most amount of consumers to be able to purchase it at the most affordable rate with the highest quality. Only private sector can do that, not government, and we need some help with that. Go to americansforprosperity.org/affordability. I know it's a lot. americansforprosperity.org/affordability. Sign up. It's completely free, and you can work with your elected officials in your area on exactly what we can do to bring back affordability as we go through 2026 with our friends over at Americans for Prosperity. All right, speaking of, by the way, the deportations of illegal migrants, there has been a big win today, according to Fox News, regarding the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, where they have seen a case out of, speaking of, the city of Minneapolis, where one individual was detained. A Joaquin Herrera Avila, a Mexican national that was here illegally, was arrested in Minneapolis back in August of last year, failed to produce legal credentials to be here in the United States legally in authorizing his admission to be detained without bond and faced removal proceedings. Now, one thing progressives really like to do is hide behind the court system because, well, they kind of run the court system. They've corrupted the court system. They use it as the red tape and the first line of defense against an agenda they don't like. Hence why Chuck Schumer openly said before Donald Trump took office and swore in was that they were confirming as many federal judges as possible to try and be that first line of defense, knowing they were in the minority and what they could do to try and stop Donald Trump with his agenda moving forward. They use the court system to their advantage as a political operative, which is not okay. And according to the 8th Circuit Court, they say that that is not okay to try and slow things down, and that the illegal alien does not have to face bond hearings and stay in the country any longer. So that was a big win for us. Well done. And we can move forward by saying that you don't have to go through a lengthy court process to be deported. If you're here illegally, especially as a criminal, then you do whatever criminal punishment that you have, and then boom, you're on a plane and you're on the way out. That's a big win for us. By the way, Attorney General Pam Bondi releasing a statement after that decision saying, quote, massive court victory against activist judges and for President Trump's law and order agenda, saying that they are looking forward to being able to deport more individuals. Again, we're going to have more No Kings protests because of that one, just because you're not following due process by an individual who's not supposed to get due process in the first place, which, by the way, apparently they are now organizing another No Kings protest. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's happening. Here in the Wichita area, I saw some statements from different organizations on social media that they are organizing it. Is it this weekend? Maybe next weekend? I don't know, but it's happening soon. The No Kings protest, they're back. They ran out of their Iranian flags. They looked really silly supporting an Islamist fascist regime in Iran, so now they're just going back to the No Kings here in the United States, because how dare we keep the streets safe and get rid of people that are breaking the law and, typical things. But whatever, get ready for No Kings protests coming back again.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Miss any part of the show? Well, don't worry. Now's your chance to go find the podcast and listen to as much of the Voice of Reason as you'd like. As the show continues to grow all across the nation with great radio affiliates, we also continue to grow as one of the top conservative podcasts, ranked 5th on the MillionPodcast.com Best 50 Conservative Leadership Podcasts in the nation, and number 1 on FeedSpot.com's 30 Best Conservative Talk Shows in the country. The show continues to grow each and every day. Just find us on any of your favorite podcasting sites at The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Truth, reason, and common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
This shutdown is a choice made by Democrats. It's a conscious decision by Democrats to put violent, illegal criminals ahead of American people. That's their choice. Let's talk about what was happening before this shutdown. Law enforcement officers were doing their sworn duty, arresting and deporting dangerous individuals who should have never been in the country to begin with.
Crazy concept.
We're talking about child molesters, rapists, and murderers. People who threaten the lives every day of Americans.
A wild concept. So that was Congresswoman Lisa McClain. She's out of the great state of Michigan. Surprising that we have someone really calling it out there in Michigan because of some of the victims that have come from her area, which is really unfortunate. So, yeah, the narrative is pretty straightforward. And again, you can have the messaging come from the other side all that you want to. Is it really working? Probably not. And it's kind of crazy. All right, let's shift gears a little bit here, shall we?
What's trending today?
By the way, I've been following, if you want to find us on social media, you can, at Hooser Reason. I have been in a discussion back and forth throughout the day today. I posted a video of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He was with Bill Maher talking about, vaccines and the rate of lack of studies that we've had on vaccines and, why we inject ourselves with so many more vaccines than any other nation on the face of the earth, and yet we don't have any less of disease spread in this nation that we do than, say, some of these other countries. So, yeah, it's kind of wild that we have just this generalized assumption that they're always good, blindly take it, do whatever. And it's not being anti-vax in any way, shape, or form. And I don't want to go down that conversation, but my phone keeps going off because I get all these crazy notifications of people just so angry at this content, man. They were so angry.
We're all gonna die because of you!
Yeah, but you know what? So you got to start somewhere. And I just like to poke the bear sometimes, and that's totally all right. All right, let's get into some of the trending. Donald Trump sending out a Truth Social post a couple hours ago, and it ties in with the latest news that we've heard from Iran. Apparently, Iran not quite learning their lesson. I don't know if we're still in negotiation with them or playing nice or having talks, which we probably shouldn't be doing, and apparently it's not working because they're posting a bunch of crap on social media too. But Donald Trump is not only trying to renegotiate with Iran to get things back to normal, but he's also looking here on the domestic front in ways that we can stop terrorism and that ways that we can stop threats. Now, I want to be clear. These laws that we're going to talk about are relatively new, as in within the last 20 plus years. And it passed during the Patriot Act after 9/11 and this surveillance and this collection of metadata collection and so on and so forth, where I've never been a fan of it. Well, I take that back. I was back then. Oh, we have to do it to save the country. I know we were in the wrong. I've evolved from that one, and I apologize profusely because we should not, as the great words of Benjamin Franklin, we should not compromise our privacy and our freedom for security, because those that do compromise and give up their freedom for security deserve neither. And that's kind of where we're at the boat today, where everything we have, every bit of technology, every phone, every computer, every car, every refrigerator apparently is not only telling you you're out of carrots, but also telling you exactly what you can and cannot have. And that's kind of crazy. There is renewed funding for FISA, the FISA courts. Essentially a court that's not beholden to you and I, that can give warrants in order to surveil individuals, collect data on individuals. And it was traditionally supposed to be about foreign agents with threats abroad about what they may do to us here in the United States. And that's been evolved, obviously, pretty dramatically, where we just heard the hearings this past week regarding Arctic Frost, Operation Arctic Frost, with the data collection of elected officials of Republicans and conservative organizations because Donald Trump was trying to rig the election in 2020, right? Remember that? Donald Trump sent out a tweet today that said Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune have been working to pass a clean extension of the FISA Section 702. A law that was passed many years ago by Congress to collect intelligence on foreigners and non-citizens. When used properly, FISA is an effective tool to keep Americans safe. For these reasons, I have called for a clean 18-month extension. However, all in capitals, However, the critical and common sense reforms that were made in the last reauthorization of FISA must remain intact to protect the American people from abuses. Nobody understands this better than me, as I was a victim of the worst and most illegal abuse of FISA in our nation's history by radical left lunatics who lied to the FISA court to spy on the 2016 presidential campaign and their attempt to rig the election in favor of crooked Hillary Clinton. This is a long post, so bear with me. That is why, since the first day of my already historic second term, my administration has worked tirelessly to ensure these reforms are being aggressively executed at every level of the executive branch to keep Americans safe while protecting their sacred civil liberties guaranteed by our great Constitution. With the ongoing successful military activities against the terrorist Iranian regime, it is more important than ever that we remain vigilant, protect our homeland, our troops and diplomats stationed abroad, and maintain our ability to quickly stop bad actors seeking to cause harm to our people and our country. The fact is, whether you like FISA or not, it is extremely important to our military. I have spoken to many generals about this, and they consider it vital. Not one said, even tactically, that they cannot do without it, especially right now with our brilliant military operation in Iran. Thank you for our attention to this very important matter, President Donald J. Trump. All right, that was a mouthful. And I have to say, I have not been one that has liked FISA in any fashion. If there is a compromise, this is it, man. And well done. I have to applaud President Donald Trump on that. That was really good. Because I do not like FISA. I do not like the illegal collecting of data. I think privacy is something that we have given up way too easily. My generation especially. My generation was the first one. I remember a study I was in college at the time, so it was, 2008, 2009, I think, when I heard this stat, that my generation as millennials would be willing to allow the government to collect data and collect all of our emails for a free pizza. That's how little we cared about the data collection of the government of us at that time. Yeah, for a free pizza, I would allow the government to say, hey, collect all of my emails that I have. And at that time, technology was still relatively limited. I still had a flip phone back in the day at that time. It was flip phones and Blackberry phones that were popular at the time before the smartphone even came about. So, yeah, we were very just open about it because we didn't think it was a big deal. You know what? It was right after 2001. It was after 9/11. We had the Patriot Act. We were starting to collect this data. And if it kept us safe, we were totally willing and open to do it. And we let it get out of hand. Now, every social media collects everybody your information. And under the Biden administration, it was actually being turned over to the government so that way they could decide who they were going to shut down, shadow ban, and try and investigate because of Donald Trump and so on and so forth. So we got to start taking that back. But if there is a negotiation or a middle ground on FISA, is going back to what it was originally intended for non-citizens and for threats abroad in foreign agents wanting to harm the United States. And Donald Trump said that brilliantly, that we are in the war with Iran right now, and we need to have that data collected so that way we can do it properly, which leads us to
what's trending today.
The press conference from Caroline Leavitt today talking about the Iranian issue, where now, I don't know if you've seen it or not, there is a new AI video that has been posted by the Iranian government of a missile that is going right towards the Statue of Liberty. They have said they openly reject the talks and negotiations of President Donald Trump. They're posting the videos to continue to taunt us, and it leads us to the realization that this regime, no matter what, is never going to work with the United States whatsoever. They're not going to play nice. They're not going to be okay. They're never going to admit defeat. It's kind of like the Japanese during World War II, where they didn't even have a word in their language for defeat or surrender. And we had to drop 2 nuclear bombs on them, unfortunately, and kill hundreds of thousands of people, which is a travesty for them to realize that we're not messing around. And we're not going to do that with the people of Iran, because the Iranian people are great. In fact, they're celebrating in the streets openly that Donald Trump did what he did. But we need to get it in. This is probably the one critique I have of Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump right now, is the fact that we cannot stop until the regime is gone. And I'm not talking about a U.S. replacement of a regime change, doing the whole purple finger voting like we saw in Iraq back in the day with George Bush. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying end all of them completely, eliminate every last one of these Ayatollah crazy people, and allow the people of Iran to take their government back. And that's what we have to do.
More than 9,000 enemy targets have been struck to date. Compared to the start of the operation, Iran's ballistic missile attacks and drone attacks are down by roughly 90%. The United States is also annihilating the Iranian regime's navy. We have destroyed more than 140 of their naval vessels, including almost 50 mine layers. This is the largest elimination of a navy over a 3-week period since World War II.
That's pretty impressive. We're winning. There's no cause to question that we're winning, even though the media is like, oh, Iran's still trying to fight back. Like, they're still trying to cause this division and not support America, which is really kind of strange. But we're winning very easily. We're dominating these guys very easily. Finish the job. Just finish the job. We know we set a 4 to 6 week timeline for this thing. It's about 4 weeks in. If we have to go 7 weeks or 8 weeks, fine, okay, whatever. Be done with it. But stop trying to negotiate. Stop trying to be nice. Stop trying to work with them. They're never going to learn that lesson. They are people that, by the bottom of their hearts, by the fuel that feeds them every single day, by the passion that they build with their religious beliefs or whatever else, they despise us with every fiber of their being. And they'll never play nice on the world stage. Never will. According to Donald Trump right now, he has Marco Rubio as Secretary of State, J.D. Vance, Vice President, working with Iran to try and, quote, end the war. I do find it interesting that all of the foreign policy issues are always down to Donald Trump putting those two together, tag teaming Rubio and Vance together. He did that with Greenland, and that didn't work out well. We're working with Iran. That's not going to work out well either. But tag teaming them two together is kind of awesome, and you want to know why? Possibly 2028 presidential run ticket together. I don't know if it's going to happen, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, but that would be a solid ticket. I think just about every Republican and MAGA individual would support that ticket, and Donald Trump strategically partnering those two together to say, you two, go handle it. I trust you guys. Get her done. And I don't know about you. I think that's kind of cool. All right, we got one segment left here for a midweek celebration. Hang tight.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left finds new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back. And that's where we can help. Head to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can find our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Let us know your thoughts on current events with different surveys and chat rooms. And keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Plus, when you head to the website, you can always get great deals and different offers from all of our great radio partners. Finally, if you want more of the show, you can find our podcasts with all of our great episodes and your favorite guests. And make sure to check out the latest Voice of Reason infomercials and maybe some other special content. And it's all because of you being part of the Hoosier-holic family. Let's continue to fight for conservative common sense principles together by going to HooserReason.com. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? Our country's greatest breakthroughs were born from bold ideas and the ability to take one small step forward. At Americans for Prosperity, freedom and opportunity find their defenders. Because our country's next giant leap is just around the corner. Are you ready to step up?
Hey, the live show may be almost over today, but it doesn't have to be for you. As always, enjoy the Voice of Reason with our daily podcast by finding the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser on any of your favorite podcasting sites. Just find us, subscribe, have it automatically downloaded, and listen at your convenience whenever you want to bring some more reason into your day. And a lot of people are doing it. Also, you can always find the video of the show, along with articles, additional commentary, and maybe a few sarcastic remarks by following us on our social media. Stay up to date with everything going on with the show, including upcoming guests, breaking news stories, interesting articles, and maybe some memes. Help us in the ongoing battle with censorship and shadow banning from social media by following us on the social media at Hooser Reason on all of our social media sites. For all these social media links, podcast links, contact information, or just general information of the show, go to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can listen live every day, read our latest monthly blog, find our radio affiliate list, or even listen to our latest infomercials and special content. Plus, you can always reach out to the program by sending me a message on social media, emailing us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or sending an email through our website at HooserReason.com. Whether it's content on the show, whether it's a guest that you've liked or disliked, or whether you want to disagree with me, and disagreement's always appreciated. While you're there, make sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. Each month, you'll get the latest update on the show, updates from the Hooser Media Network, and our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Finally, if you want to help support the show, become a member of our Patreon site and help us fight for the cause of truth, reason, and common sense every day, and get more of the same by becoming the ultimate Hoosierholic. Get additional interviews that sometimes we don't always get to air on the radio. Hear our special segments or even our infomercials before anyone else, and have a chance to chat with other great Hoosierholics from all over. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, you're not only helping the fight for conservative values, you're helping us get more content and information out through the Hooser Media Network. Find out more information online at HooserReason.com. Lastly, follow and support all of our partners with the show. The Voice of Reason has been growing more and more every year, and it's because of so many great partners helping us get the message out to you. From show partners to local radio affiliates in your area to streaming sites, podcasting sites, and more, we have so many supporters and listeners now than ever before, and we want to thank you. It's time to bring back common sense, and we do it right here every day with the Voice of Reason.
America's safe space for common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
The remaining elements of the Iranian regime have another opportunity to cooperate with President Trump, permanently abandon their nuclear ambitions, and cease actively threatening America and our allies. But the president's preference is always peace. There does not need to be any more death and destruction. But if Iran fails to accept the reality of the current moment, if they fail to understand that they have been defeated militarily and will continue to be, President Trump will ensure they are hit harder than they have ever been hit before.
Well, get her done, because they're never going to admit that. They're going to go all the way out in the blaze of glory, and that's what they want. That's what they like to do, and that's why they continue to taunt us by releasing AI videos of them trying to shoot a missile at the Statue of Liberty, because they despise everything about us. So go ahead and get her done. You know what this really sums down to, and I want to shift gears because there's something else I really want to get to on the global stage, but where's the United Nations in all this? Where's the UN? Because I thought they were supposed to prevent human rights issues and war from happening, in a potential third world war from happening as well. Where are they? They're not. They're not. And you know why? Because you literally still have the spokesperson for the nation of Iran and that Ayatollah government speaking to the United Nations, saying that the UN should actually sanction Iran to retaliate and shoot nuclear missiles into the United States for what they did. And the UN's just like, you're allowed to say that, whatever. The problem with the world government, which is why a world government will never work ever, 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 is because they accept too many of the quote-unquote cultural differences based on human rights issues. And while they say they're defending human rights, they don't like to get tied up in trying to offend anybody with their cultural differences. Because if they did actually fight for real human rights, there would not be more slavery now than what there was slavery back in the 1800s. If they truly did fight for human rights, they would have actually put the beat down onto Russia when they were blowing up apartment buildings in Ukraine and killing innocent individuals. They would have stopped Iran a long time ago from treating women like less than human, allowing them to marry 6-year-olds and stone people in the street. But they don't, because, well, it's a cultural difference. That's their tradition, that's their religion, that's their culture, so we're just going to be hands off and allow this to happen. But we fight for human rights. So we're going to go after first world countries like the United States and make us as woke as possible to accept that kind of garbage from happening here. And I'm not okay with that. Not okay with that whatsoever. So that's why the world government mindset. The League of Nations, which happened between World War I and World War II, is a complete mass failure, and the UN has done nothing in the years that they've existed, and they will continue to do absolutely nothing. Real quickly before we go,
what's trending today?
There was a global summit, the Global Coalition Summit, and First Lady Melania Trump was at that, I believe, today. What the heck is going on with technology today? Kind of creeped me out. Did you see these videos on social media? Melania Trump walking down the aisle there, whatever it is, this carpeted area, with a robot. And it was supposed to be educating children worldwide about technology and how to prepare them for technology. I don't know that I want to necessarily normalize the idea of a robot being with you all the time, but this robot not only walked down the lane, and it looked almost like one of the new Tesla robots that Elon Musk's trying to work on. It might have been, I don't really know. Then went to the podium and introduced the First Lady.
Thank you, First Lady Melania Trump, for inviting me to the White House. It is an honor to be at Fostering the Future Together's Global Coalition inaugural meeting. I'm Figure 3, a humanoid built in the United States of America. I am grateful to be part of this historic movement to empower children with technology and education. Welcome. Bienvenidos.
That was the robot. That was the recording that the robot had. I'm sure it was pre-taped, so that way it went up there, but went to the podium, spoke, and then turned around and walked off to the side. A humanoid robot known as Figure 03 at this Global Coalition Summit, helping educate the young generation on technology and what technology is becoming. Look, I mean, I get it. I know technology is on the way up. We have to kind of embrace it. And in fact, one of the best lessons I've learned from a guest on this program, I don't know, 6 months ago, a year ago, whenever it was that if we're not part of the growing of technology in the way that it's built, in the way that it's regulated, if we're not part of that conversation, then we're going to be left out and it's going to come against us, meaning conservatives, with the education of what's going to be regurgitated to us from AI when we ask it a question. The type of input that's going into the calculations to get the proper output of the calculations. We have to be part of this growth. As conservatives, we have a hard time with that because we're content with the way things are. We don't need an AI robot around us. We don't need to use ChatGPT all the time. We don't need to use it because we're content the way it was. It was functioning fine before. Don't try and retrain an old dog new tricks. That's kind of our mindset, but we have to be part of it. I get it. But really, do we have to normalize robots with children?
I'm Figure 03. Thank you, First Lady Melania Trump.
I don't know. It's creepy, man. It's weird. I don't know that I like it. All right, we're back at it again tomorrow for your pre-Friday celebration. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Be that catalyst for change. We'll see you back on the radio soon. Bye.
For too long, Washington has said no to builders, workers, and American families, and yes to bureaucracy, delay, and special interests. Let's flip that. Say yes to building more housing, and no to government mandates that block it. Yes to permitting American energy, and no to endless red tape. Yes to putting patients in charge of healthcare, and no to letting insurance companies call the shots. Higher costs? No. An affordable America? Yes.
Miss any part of the show? Well, don't worry. Now's your chance to go find the podcast and listen to as much of the Voice of Reason as you'd like. As the show continues to grow all across the nation with great radio affiliates, we also continue to grow as one of the top conservative podcasts, ranked 5th on the MillionPodcast.com Best 50 Conservative Leadership Podcasts in the nation, and number 1 on Feature